Florida, Jacksonville Beach. Right now, we've got partly cloudy skies. The wind is picking up, and we have been picking up sandbags over the last couple of minutes here. These guys have been doing this for hours. The reason why is they take every one of these sandbags. They're going to put it over here on these little hand trucks you see in this spot, for example. And then these end up going in front of doors, in front of walls, anything to help create a fortress against that beast that is sliding in our direction. Minute by minute, hour by hour, it gets closer to our shorelines. What we can expect, again, the wind actually picking up quite a bit. We can expect, again, the heavy rainfall, the storm surge possibility. Let's get you up to speed with what we know at this hour. We're going to take you step by step with what we know. Where I happen to be, again, folks, this information is going to change as we go hour by hour. What we're going to be seeing in a lot of these locations, again, conditions deteriorating, no question about it. And as we go with what we know, you see the latest information for you. Again, power outages are going to be a tremendous problem for a lot of people, no question about it. As we have more information, we are certainly going to share it with you. Well, where I happen to be, let's get you up to speed. We are in a community at Jacksonville Beach that's actually 4 towns. You've got Mayport, that's one. You've got Neptune Beach, you've got Jupiter Beach. Then you have Ponte Vedra Beach, which is just farther to the south. We have evacuation orders, but right now they are not mandatory. People do not have to go at this point. However, that may change, and then people are urged to go right across the intercoastal back into the mainland. We've got some imagery for you in Miami Beach, and the situation there is one very similar to what you're going to see top to bottom around the state. Preparedness, people preparing for the worst, expecting bad conditions, but hoping for good things. However, this is a situation where we've seen what it's done. This does have a history to it. We've seen what it has done already in parts of the tropics. We know that it is rolling towards us. And the thing to consider, ladies and gentlemen, is this is not surgical. We're not talking about something like a scalpel. This is more like a buzzsaw. We're going to go now to Miami with Mike Seidel. He follows this report.
Hey, good afternoon, or rather good morning. I've lost track of time. Reynolds, we're out here on the beach, and the wind has picked up over the past 24 hours, running about 15 miles an hour from the east to northeast, and the wave heights, too, have really ramped up. They were running about a foot yesterday, now 3 to 4 footers, and this is only going to increase as the swell propagates in from Hurricane Irma and due in here late tomorrow night and Sunday, and this entire beach will be underwater regardless of the exact track. Let's bring in Cesar Alvarez, who's Director of Operations for Water Sports, and basically what you do is you handle everything that we rent on the beach from South Beach up to Deerfield Beach.
That's correct.
And what kind of day or days have you had since this thing came on the radar?
The last 3 days has been really tough on us, working about 18 to 20 hours a day. We're able to move everything safely out of the beach, and now we can go and look for safety.
And how far inland are you taking these big box containers of umbrellas and chairs?
We have big warehouses down in far north in Miami, and everything is enclosed to, preventing things flying out and stuff like that, but everything is on the roofs and safely.
And west of I-95?
Yes.
Okay. And let me talk about, you've been out here 18 years. How many times have you had to do this, take everything off the beach?
Give and take 6 times.
6 times? And the last time was Wilma? You think?
I forget all the names by now, but yeah, last year we evacuate because there was a tropical storm. I think, I forgot the name, but we've done this.
That's okay. Times. You've been up for how many days and how many hours of sleep?
3 days up, 8 hours in total.
Well, we'll let you go. Get some sleep. Cesar Alvarez, thanks for joining us. He's the guy who gets everything off the beaches. By the way, speaking of getting off the beach and to higher ground, this is the largest evacuation on record here in the Miami, South Florida area, in Miami-Dade County. 680,000 people. That includes Zone A, B, part of C. Just about everyone that lives east of US 1 and Biscayne Boulevard has been asked to evacuate to a safe spot. And remember, you don't have to drive all the way to Atlanta. If you have friends inland, you just got to really get out of the storm surge. It's better to hunker down with friends than try to head north and try to find a hotel. So Reynolds, out here on the beach, another beautiful day. Unlike yesterday, I don't see anybody on the beach at this point. Reynolds?
Wow. All right, Mike Seidel, thanks so much for following that report. I just got a report from my field producer, Mike Fomal. He's actually south of our location, about 2 miles to the south, and he's finding at this hour, unfortunately, very few houses that happen to be boarded up. However, a lot of businesses, like where we happen to be at our hotel, it has been one of preparedness. I mean, you see right here the sandbags, each of these being set up strategically around this building. We are probably not going to be here as we make our way over the next several hours. In fact, we're probably going to go back into the mainland. That is going to be basically the marching orders for so many people. We've had people reaching out to me on social media saying, what about your crew? What are you guys going to do when this comes through? Well, we're going to take the right steps. Safety's paramount, no question about it. So yeah, we are going to continue to share this story with you, but at the same time, we've got to be safe. Everybody has to. It's teamwork. Speaking of teamwork, let's send it back in the studio where we have Dr. Greg Postel and Liana. Guys, watching the thing buzz forward, knowing that it's coming to our shores, certainly terrifying prospects, but people doing the best they can to be ready.
Yeah, thanks so much, Reynolds. And I mean, we're not just talking about all of Florida. We're also talking about 2 other coastlines that have the potential to see devastating conditions.
Yeah, I mean, there's some key takeaways. You're exactly right, Liana. And if you want to think about it this way, here, let's take it sort of item by item. In South Florida, expect severe hurricane conditions with high-end winds over hurricane force, over 75 miles per hour, beginning Saturday night and lasting into Sunday. And then a storm surge likely across the southern part of the state, but that is going to expand northward, as are the winds during the day on Sunday.
Yeah, and then, I mean, behind that, once it pushes through, I mean, we still have the potential to see even more devastation.
Yeah, it's going to continue on northward in places like across coastal Georgia, coastal South Carolina. Watch out for significant impacts from the wind and the waves as well. And then interior sections of Georgia, watch out as the remnants of Irma, however strong it is, will likely bring damaging winds well inland, possibly as far northwest as the Atlanta area, with wind gusts maybe over 70 miles per hour there.
Yes, we still need to prepare, even if you're well inland.
Yes.
I mean, this thing is a beast.
It is. And we were talking about this. We were looking at, Liana, the satellite pictures, and you could sort of look at it and on the surface of it kind of get lulled into the sense that, aha, maybe it is weakening. We're losing some of those taller clouds. We lost some of those bright colors in there. Maybe it's not as strong as it once was. That doesn't appear to be the case. The hurricane hunters are in there right now, and they're finding it essentially the same strength as it's been all morning long, somewhere around 150 miles per hour.
And it's a process, right, Dr. Postel? I mean, it may continue to do that maybe once or twice before it really re-strengthens.
That's exactly right. Just because what we're seeing on the satellite pictures suggests that maybe it's not quite as well organized as it was, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. One, as you just mentioned, some of those internal changes that are ongoing may consolidate and allow it to get a little bit stronger just by themselves. Two, it's going to be moving over incredibly warm water on its westward and then northwestward path. Water temperatures somewhere around 90 degrees and very deep in that warm water layer. So there's a lot of energy to be extracted from the ocean that may allow this to even strengthen a little bit, which is actually what some of the models suggest it might do.
Now, you know, the models have been kind of bouncing back and forth with where exactly it's going to go. Is there any chance? I know Reynolds asked that earlier, too. Is there any chance that we could see it kind of break up in any possible way, kind of weaken just a little bit?
Unlikely. It is expected to be a Category 4 hurricane, potentially a strong Cat 4, and maybe even more than that, maybe. But landfalling somewhere here across southern Florida, Florida Keys, very early on Sunday morning. Expect that. Our official forecast from the Hurricane Center has it at 145 miles per hour. Sounds right. Expect a high-end wind event that can do catastrophic damage all across the southern part of the state, Liana. And the odds of it kind of missing it wide right or wide left, very, very small. Do not count on it. Those are very, very unlikely scenarios.
Now, is there any way that it'll interact with maybe Cuba? Is there any kind of interaction with that?
Potentially, and if it does, it could sort of prevent it from strengthening or maybe weaken it a smidge, but not a lot. If you look at the intensity forecasts from the different models, Liana, that was a great question. Here going forward from today, Saturday, and Sunday, each one of these lines is a different forecast from a different model, showing you essentially on its path toward Florida. Remember, the landfall would be somewhere right around there. Most of the guidance has it either the same strength or maybe even a little bit stronger.
Yeah, this part kind of worries me right there.
That's right. There is that possibility, although the sort of consensus suggests it'll probably hold its own as a high-end Cat 4. There is that possibility for stronger than that. But notice that as it moves across the Florida Peninsula during the day on Sunday, it will weaken pretty quickly, but still bring a lot of surge, a lot of wind coming in on these exposed coastlines all the way up through Jacksonville and through Savannah, Georgia.
Yes, so they aren't completely out in the clear just yet. You still need to be aware and watch the forecast and really just be weather aware even after the storm has essentially passed.
Essentially, you're right. So let's have a look now. 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. The European model, which has outperformed all other guidance with regard to the track of Hurricane Irma, has the center right here in the central part of the Florida Keys on Sunday morning, with hurricane force winds coming into parts of the southern Florida Peninsula there, Miami all the way up through West Palm. Wind gusts perhaps over 100 miles per hour at their highest. And then they have that offshore wind, very damaging wind as well across the southwestern part of the state. But you were talking about this, Liana. Even though it moves this direction, guess what we still have? We have an onshore wind, very strong, potentially a hurricane force wind still in gusts, bringing some of that water, the potential for storm surge inundation on the southwestern part of the state.
Okay, and that's even behind that. I mean, that's wrapping around. That's where we see all the storm surge really picking up across the western half of the coastline.
And here in Georgia, we cannot forget our friends in the coastal sections of Georgia and South Carolina, all the way up through. There may be wind gusts over hurricane force on Amelia Island, Florida, for example, with that onshore wind, all the way up through Jekyll Island, perhaps St. Simon's Island, through Savannah, and even northward from there. Expect hurricane force wind gusts early in the day on Monday, with the center still moving northward from there.
Oh my gosh. And then look, I mean, it's a period of time where we still have it right near Savannah and stretching into Myrtle Beach. That's scary.
Irma's going that way, or so close by, like that path. It will likely continue to bring very strong winds and the risk for coastal flooding into parts of South Georgia and South Carolina. That would be on Monday evening, with that onshore wind potentially somewhere between 50 and 75 miles per hour as Hurricane Irma, the center of it, probably not a hurricane here anymore, but weakening along the way through Macon, Georgia, up through Atlanta. Expect wind gusts probably Monday night and early Tuesday, maybe up to 75 miles per hour in gusts, isolated gusts.
And I mean, it's widespread across the area that everyone's going to see at least some sort of 35 to maybe even 45, and we can still see some damage. I mean, it's just a really bad situation all around. Well inland.
Well inland. You're exactly right, because this could bring lots of power outages, lots of tree damage, all kinds of things like that. Not just along the coast, but inland in southern Georgia, parts of western Alabama, South Carolina as well, with Irma continuing to move on north toward the Tennessee Valley, even up there bringing some wind gusts that could bring down some trees and bring some damage as well.
And look at the timestamp. I mean, this is Tuesday, 9 a.m., and we're going to start seeing it impact Florida, what, this weekend?
Right,
So,
exactly.
Is this considered kind of a quick hitter in a way?
You know what? It's moving at a reasonable clip. Thankfully, nothing like what we saw with Harvey, which sort of sat in one area for days, inundating them with incredible amounts of rain. This will not be that kind of system. This will be a much more powerful system, but moving a lot more quickly, thankfully so. Storm surge, just real quick, just to update you on this. This is brand new. The storm surge forecast now has, across parts of the southwestern part of Florida, 6 to 12 feet in their expectation for storm surge inundation. That is not counting the wave action at all.
Oh man, that is definitely not a good case scenario.
Yep.
All right, we want to send it out back to Reynolds and Jacksonville Beach. Reynolds?
All right, thanks so much. We got some new information to share with you. Let's go now to the Turks and Caicos. Take a look at this image that we just got recently. This is from the Provo Air Center. Yeah, the still image shows minimal damage to fuel trucks. The fuel trucks appear to be fine here at the airport. This tweet from Provo Air Center says, "We're ready whenever the airport reopens, but the main terminal, you can see some damage, but all things considered, minimal damage." I mean, you take your victories whenever you can when you have a behemoth like this that's roaring through the tropics. Well, I can tell you where we happen to be. If someone had been sleeping in the hotel for several days, they stepped outside and they looked up and weren't paying attention to the forecast, you would think that all is pristine. A few scattered clouds here and there. You've got the trees that just kind of rollicking, swaying. But off on the horizon, of course, we've got a big tempest that's burning. No question about it. That continues to get closer to us. What we're going to be seeing over the next several days is we're going to have more of the cloud cover coming in, the heavy rainfall into parts of Florida. Storm surge, certainly a huge story in its own right. That's one thing we're going to have to contend with. And then, of course, remember, folks, when you have these landfalling systems, there's always the prospect of tornadic activity. Could have some tornadoes that could develop. So we got a long way to go as we make our way over the next several days, certainly possibly over the weeks when you consider the aftermath as well. You're watching the Weather Channel. Continued coverage around the clock, all day, all night. You're at the right spot. We've got a team of experts that are lined up, not only here in Florida, coastside, but also back in the interior. And, of course, we've got an Army personnel back at the Weather Channel. Writers, producers, people working around the clock to give you, your friends, your family the information you need to keep you and your community safe. All right, folks, in just a few moments, we're going to go to commercial break, but we'll see you on the other side with the very latest on this system. It's the strongest storm on the planet continuing to roll to our mainland. Sit tight. Be safe. We'll see you in a few moments.